Welcome to the Curious Room. I'm so glad you're here with us. Tonight, we're going to do something a little different. Usually we look outward, at history, at science, the big strange mechanics of the universe. But tonight, we're turning that lens inward. We're looking at the machinery inside our own heads. And if I'm being honest, the machinery seems a little bit broken.
It really feels that way sometimes, doesn't it? I mean, if you were designing a computer and it had the same operating system as the human brain, you'd return it. You'd take it right back to the store.
Oh, immediately you'd say, this thing has a virus.
Exactly. It keeps opening old files I thought I deleted years ago, or the pop-up ads are just unbearable.
Right. And they're always the worst pop-up ads.
Always. But here's the thing we're going to explore. Those glitches.
Hmm.
They aren't actually glitches. They're features. Very, very annoying features, I'll grant you. But they're features nonetheless.
Okay, so to get us started, I want everyone listening to just tap into a very specific feeling with me. I want you to picture a moment. Maybe it's right now, you're driving maybe, or you're lying in bed, the lights are out, the world is finally quiet. You're ready for some peace. And then, hop.
The uninvited guest.
The uninvited guest doesn't just knock, it kicks the door of your brain clean off its hinges. And it's never a memory of that time you won an award, is it? Or that perfect sunset.
No, never.
It's a memory from 5 years ago, or 15. It's that joke you told at a dinner party where no one laughed, or, the time you sent that email to the entire company instead of just one person.
Oh, that's a classic, a Hall of Famer. Or the time you waved enthusiastically at someone who wasn't waving at you.
Yes. The wave. And it's not just a picture in your head, right? It's a physical thing.
It's completely physical. It's a sensation.
It's a full body cringe. My chest actually tightens. I'll be honest, if I'm alone in my car and one of those memories hits me, I will literally make a noise. I'll go, yeah, or like, no, out loud. It's like I'm trying to physically push the thought out of my head with sound. Is that just me?
Not at all.
Yeah.
That is such a universal, deeply human reaction. We sometimes call these memories the shadows.
Oh.
They're these darker moments that seem to follow us around, just lurking in the corners until the noise of the day dies down. And the central mystery we're wrestling with tonight is why? Why do these shadows linger so much longer than the sunlight? Why is the brain so good, so incredibly efficient at holding on to the bad stuff while the good stuff,
Yeah.
it just seems to slip right through our fingers like water?
It feels profoundly unfair. It feels like a design flaw.
It absolutely does. But I think by the end of our conversation, we'll start to see it not as a flaw, but as a survival mechanism. It's just a very outdated one.
Yeah.
We're going to explore this idea of the echo, the event itself, the sound. It happened years ago. It's over. But the memory, the echo, just keeps bouncing off the canyon walls of your mind.
And just before we dive into the nuts and bolts of why this happens, I really want to make a promise. To you, listening right now, if you have these moments, if you lie in bed at night replaying some conversation from 2018, you are not broken. You're not a negative person. You are not, bad at life.
Not even close. In fact, you're a high-functioning product of evolution. Your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. The problem is the world it was designed for doesn't exist anymore.
So, okay, let's unpack that. Let's look at the machinery. I think we have to start with that imbalance, that feeling that the bad things just weigh more than the good things.
That's the fundamental principle.
Yeah.
We can call it the asymmetry of memory.
Yeah.
Or, if you want the catchy title from the psychology world, it's simply bad is stronger than good.
Bad is stronger than good. Wow, that sounds like a really depressing movie title.
It's a bit bleak, I'll admit. But think about your average Tuesday. Let's paint a picture. You wake up, the coffee is perfect.
Right.
Not too bitter, not too weak, just perfect. You're driving to work and you hit every single green light.
Okay, that's already a miracle. That's a sign from the universe.
Right. It's a mythical day. You get to work. Your boss pulls you aside and says, hey, that report you filed yesterday, excellent work. Really insightful stuff.
Wow. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good.
You're feeling great. You go to lunch. You have an amazing sandwich. The sun is shining. Let's count them up. Let's say 10 distinct positive things that have happened.
This sounds like the best day of my entire life.
It's a fantastic day. But then, at 4:30 in the afternoon, you're driving home. We're still in a good mood. You merge lanes, maybe a little too aggressively by accident, just a small mistake. And the guy behind you,
Yeah.
he just leans on his horn for like 5 full seconds. He pulls up next to you at the light, rolls down the window, screams something nasty, and gives you a very specific one-finger salute.
The stomach drop, the heat that rushes to your face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, you get home, your partner, your roommate, whoever, asks, so how's your day? What do you talk about? Do you talk about the green lights, the perfect coffee, the compliment from your boss?
No. No way. I talk about the jerk in the car. I say, ooh, you won't believe what happened. I had such a stressful drive. This guy screamed at me. And I'll probably be in a bad mood for the rest of the night because of it.
Precisely. That one negative interaction,
Mhm.
it completely swallowed the 10 good ones.
Mhm.
The math just doesn't add up right. 10 positives should easily outweigh one negative, but the negative is heavier.
It's like the good moments are made of styrofoam and the bad moments are made of lead.
That's a perfect way to put it. There's this great analogy psychologists use, the Velcro versus Teflon effect. Positive experiences are like Teflon. They're smooth, they slide right off, you enjoy them in the moment, your brain gets a little hit of dopamine, and then it flushes the cache. It doesn't really need to hold on to them because they aren't, quote, useful for survival.
So it's just like, okay, nice moment, moving on.
Exactly. But negative experiences, fear, shame, anger, embarrassment, they're like Velcro. They have all these little hooks, and they just latch onto the fabric of your mind.
But why? I mean, why would nature build us this way? Wouldn't it be more adaptive to be happy? To hold on to the good stuff?
You'd think so. But here's the tough truth. Nature doesn't really care if you're happy. Nature cares if you're alive. And this brings us back to that idea of weight. Let's visualize it. Imagine that all your positive emotions, joy, calm, satisfaction, contentment, they're like feathers. They're beautiful, they can lift you up, but if you open your hand, they just float away on the breeze. You have to really work to catch them and hold on.
And the bad stuff?
The bad stuff, fear, rejection, that cringe moment, those are stones. They're heavy. They're solid. And when you encounter one, your brain doesn't just look at it. It picks it up and puts it in your pocket. And you carry it around. And because it's heavy, you feel its weight with every single step you take.
That makes so much sense. We even use that language, don't we? We say, I have a heavy heart, or that really weighs on my mind. We never say I have a light heart unless we mean being carefree, which is really just the absence of the stones.
Exactly. The default is be weighed down. And this is where the shadow metaphor really comes in. A very small object can cast a very long shadow if the light hits it from just the right angle. A small 5-second negative moment, like that guy honking at you, can cast a shadow over your entire evening, blocking out all the light from the good coffee and the compliment from your boss.
I think this is where we need to get really specific, because when we talk about bad memories, people might automatically think of, big capital T traumas, car accidents, disasters, things like that. And yes, obviously those stick. But what really seems to keep people up at night, what really fills the curious room of the mind at 3 a.m. are the small things, the social paper cuts.
The social gaffes, the awkward moments, yes.
I have a personal one. I call it the phantom wave.
Oh, I think I know where this is going. This is a classic.
So I'm walking down the street. I see someone walking towards me. I'm pretty sure it's an old coworker I liked. They look right at me. They smile, and they raise their hand in this big, enthusiastic wave.
And your brain just goes, yay! Connection, a friendly face.
Exactly. I light up. I get this big, dumb smile on my face. I throw my hand up and maybe even shout, like, hey. And then, as we get closer, I realize they're looking about 3 feet past my left ear.
Oh, no.
They're waving at their friend who's walking behind me.
The horror, the slow motion horror.
It is absolute soul-crushing horror. They look at me with this confused, slightly pitying expression. And I have to do that thing where you slowly lower your hand and pretend you were, I don't know, swatting a fly, stretching your neck.
You just want to dissolve into the pavement. You want to activate a cloaking device.
I want to cease to exist as a physical entity. And here's the crazy part that happened, let's say, 4 years ago. It was a 3-second interaction. Nobody was hurt. I didn't lose my job. But I still think about it. Why? Why does that one tiny meaningless moment stick like Velcro?
Or what about the classic restaurant scenario? The waiter brings your food, sets it down, smiles, and says, enjoy your meal. And without thinking, you say,
You too.
you too.
And then you just freeze. Your fork is halfway to your mouth because the waiter is not eating. The waiter is working. You've just told the waiter to enjoy watching you eat your pasta.
And you sit there for the rest of the
Yeah.
meal just chewing on your own shame, thinking, I am the most socially incompetent human being on the planet. I can't even handle a basic restaurant script.
It haunts me. I have a whole collection of you twos in my mental museum. I've got one at the airport check-in. Have a nice flight. You too. She's not going anywhere. She's working the desk for another 8 hours.
But let's break that down. Let's analyze it. Why do those moments, those tiny little fumbles, stick so hard? It comes down to the intensity of the emotion. Specifically in these cases, it's shame. or embarrassment. Even a tiny dose of shame is a very, very hot emotion.
It feels hot. Like my face physically gets warmer.
That's the key right there. That heat, that sudden spike of adrenaline and cortisol, it basically melts the memory into your brain's hard drive. When you have that nice cup of coffee in the morning, the emotional temperature is lukewarm. It's pleasant, but it's flat. But when you wave at the wrong person, there is a spike, a jolt. Your brain registers a social threat, and that spike acts like emotional glue.
So because I felt that sudden jolt of, oh no, I'm an idiot, my brain flagged that memory file as urgent high importance.
Exactly. The brain prioritizes information based on emotional intensity, not based on how much you want to remember it. You want to remember the nice compliment your boss gave you, but the compliment felt calm and pleasant. The awkward wave felt like a sudden, intense threat. So the awkward wave wins the battle for storage space every time.
It just feels like a betrayal. It honestly feels like my brain is bullying me. Like, whose side are you on here? I'm trying to go through my day feeling confident, and you're busy in the background pulling up a highlight reel of every dumb thing I've ever said, starting with that time I tripped on stage in middle school.
It really feels like a bully. It feels malicious. But, and this is the big pivot in understanding all this, your brain doesn't hate you. It actually loves you. It loves you so much that it is pathologically obsessed with keeping you safe.
Okay, you're going to have to explain that one to me. How does reminding me of an awkward email I sent in 2012 keep me safe now?
To understand this, we have to get in a little time machine. We have to go back. Not 10 years, but 50,000 years.
All right, I'm in. Where are we?
We're on the savannah. We're early humans. This is the environment your brain's operating system was coded for. Now, in this environment, there are basically two kinds of things you can pay attention to. There are nice things, a bush full of sweet berries, a pretty sunset, a cool breeze, and there are dangerous things, a venomous snake in the grass, a steep cliff, a hungry tiger.
Okay. High stakes. Very high stakes.
Extremely high stakes. So let's look at the cost of forgetting something. If you walk past that bush with the delicious berries and you forget where it was, what's the consequence?
I miss lunch. I'm a little hungry. It's a bummer, but I survive.
Exactly. The cost of a false negative on a positive thing is low. You miss a treat, but you live to see another day. Now, imagine there's a tiger that likes to hunt near a certain watering hole, or a snake that lives under a particular rock. If you see that snake and then you forget where the snake is, what happens?
I get bit, I die, game over.
Game over. The gene line ends right there.
So nature, through evolution, had to make a choice. It had to bias the system. It brutally selected for the ancestors who were paranoid, the ones who remembered every single bad thing with absolute crystal clarity.
So the chill ancestors, the ones who were like, man, what a beautiful sunset. Who cares about that snake I saw yesterday?
They got eaten.
Oh.
They did not pass on their genes. We are the children of the warriors. We are the direct descendants of the anxious. The people who survived and had kids were the ones who treated every snapping twig as a potential lion. They didn't assume it was the wind. They assumed it was death until proven otherwise.
So this echo, this bad memory that keeps bouncing back at me is basically a warning sign. It's a bright red, flashing, screaming neon sign. When you remember that awkward social moment, your brain isn't trying to shame you for fun. It's screaming, hey, remember this feeling. This was dangerous. Don't do this again. Avoid this situation at all costs.
But that's the mismatch, isn't it? Because an awkward email isn't dangerous. A tiger is dangerous.
That is the entire crux of the problem. Our hardware is ancient. It was built for the wild. But our software, our daily life is completely modern. We don't have snakes and tigers in the office. We have performance reviews and awkward silences in the elevator.
But the brain treats them the same. It can't tell the difference.
This is the fascinating and frustrating part. To the most primitive part of your brain, the amygdala, the fear center social rejection is a death threat. Because in that ancient world, a human being could not survive alone. It was impossible. We are obligate social animals. If the tribe kicked you out because you were weird, or you broke a social rule, or you were just too awkward, you died. You starved, or a predator got you. Exile was a death sentence.
Wow. So saying you too to the waiter literally equals death in the brain's old programming.
Yes. So when you feel that hot flash of shame, that's your ancient brain panicking, is thinking, oh no, we violated a social norm. The tribe might exile us. We're going to freeze to death alone in the wilderness.
That is so incredibly dramatic.
It's completely over the top. It's a false alarm. A massive overreaction. It's the modern mismatch. Your brain is reacting to a social paper cut as if it's a saber-toothed tiger bite.
It's like having a smoke detector that's so sensitive it goes off every single time you light a birthday candle.
That is the perfect metaphor. The smoke detector is doing its job. It senses smoke, it screams, it's trying to save your life from a fire, but you're just standing there with a cake, covering your ears thinking, please stop. I'm just trying to have a nice moment here.
And we can't. We can't just turn the detector off.
We can't turn it off. It's hardwired into the deepest, most ancient parts of our nervous system. And that's the cost of safety. In order for us to be a species that survives, we have to remember the pain. We have to carry the stones.
It feels like such a heavy price to pay for living in the modern world. I mean, logically, I know the waiter isn't going to banish me from the restaurant for life, but my body reacts like he might.
And having that understanding, that compassion for your own biology is the very first step. When that memory hurts, instead of thinking, I'm such an idiot, you can try to reframe it. You can think, oh, there's my brain trying to protect me again.
Yeah.
It's a misguided attempt, for sure. It's overreacting, but its intention is coming from a place of love and survival.
Compassion for my brain. That's a new concept for me. Usually I'm just fighting it. I'm just yelling at the smoke detector.
And tell me, does yelling at the smoke detector ever make it stop beeping?
Never. It just makes my ears ring and makes me more stressed out.
Exactly. Fighting it almost always makes it worse. But we'll get to what to do about it in a bit. First, I want to dig into how we remember. Because it's not like the memory just sits there in a file cabinet, untouched.
Yeah.
We do something with it. We take it out and we play with it.
The replay button. Oh, I know this button well. I think mine is worn down to a nub from overuse.
Let's talk about the anatomy of that echo. What's
Right.
happening in your mind when you're stuck in that loop?
For me, it's usually in the shower or when I'm washing dishes, some repetitive, mindless task. And I'm not just remembering what happened, I'm rewriting it. I'm thinking, okay, if I had just said this clever thing instead of that stupid thing, everyone would have laughed. Everyone would have thought I was so witty and cool.
The shower argument. We've all won thousands of arguments in the shower that we actually lost in real life.
Oh, I am undefeated in the shower. I am the world champion of witty comebacks. 3 days after the conversation happened.
So why do we do that? Why do we obsessively rewrite the script?
I guess I always just assumed it was. Regret. Just wishful thinking.
It's deeper than that. It's the brain actively trying to fix the shadow. Your brain hates the unresolved tension of a social failure. It wants a happy ending. It craves the safety of social acceptance. So it runs the simulation again and again and again, trying to find a different path, one that leads to safety and success. It thinks, if I just replay this enough times, I can learn the perfect strategy so this painful thing never ever happens
It's
again.
just like a football team watching game tape after a big loss. They don't watch the touchdown they scored in the first quarter. They watch the fumble over and over and over.
That's a great analogy, because the fumble is the danger. The fumble is what they need to analyze and fix to survive the next game. You are watching your social fumbles to prepare for the next party or the next meeting.
But it's so exhausting, and it feels like every time I replay it, the memory actually gets stronger. It gets more vivid.
That is a brilliant observation, and it's 100% true biochemically. Every time you access a memory, you aren't just playing a read-only file like on a computer. You are engaging in a process called reconsolidation. You pull the memory off the shelf, you unwrap it, you look at it through the lens of your current emotions, your current shame, your current anxiety, and then you wrap it back up with those new feelings attached and put it back on the shelf.
Wait, so I'm adding new layers of shame to it every time I think about it.
Yes, you are modifying the file.
Yeah.
You're making it worse. If you obsess over an awkward moment from high school for 20 years, the memory you have today is probably 10 times more painful and embarrassing than what actually happened. You've added 2 decades of cringe onto the original event.
That explains so much. That explains why some of those memories feel almost radioactive to the touch, even now. I've been polishing that stone of shame for decades.
They have, and that emotional intensity we talked about earlier, the heat, it acts like a carving tool.
A carving tool? What do you mean?
Imagine your mind is like a record, or a soft piece of wet clay. A happy, pleasant memory is like a soft brush stroke across the clay. It leaves a mark, sure, but it's shallow, it's delicate. A bad moment because of that shock, that fear, that emotional heat is like taking a sharp knife and carving a deep, jagged groove into the clay.
So when the needle of my attention spins around my mind...
It naturally falls into the deepest groove. It's actually hard to keep the needle in the shallow, happy grooves. It slides into the deep cuts of the old traumas and embarrassments. And once it's in that groove, it's very hard to bump it out. That's why you can't just stop thinking about it. You're literally stuck in the track.
And this brings up the physical side of it again. You
Yeah.
talked about the cringe, but have you ever noticed how a memory can literally change the feeling of a room you're in?
Tell me more about that. That's a powerful idea.
Well, let's say I'm just sitting on my couch. It's a Saturday afternoon. I'm safe. My dog is asleep next to me. The sun is shining. Everything in my physical reality is fine. Then the echo hits.
I remember a time I really failed at something or let someone down, and suddenly the room feels colder, or I feel unsafe, on edge, even though nothing in the room has changed at all. The danger is entirely in my head, but my body reacts like the tiger is right there in the living room with me.
That is the ghost of the feeling. That's such a powerful way to put it. You aren't just remembering the facts of the event. You aren't just reading a mental transcript of what happened. You are re-experiencing the feeling.
Right. If I remember a grocery list, I don't feel anything. I just see the words eggs, milk, bread.
But when you remember the moment you embarrassed yourself, your body releases a microdose of the exact same chemicals it released when the event actually happened. You get a little shot of adrenaline, a little bit of cortisol. For a moment, you are physically reliving the ghost of that event.
That explains why I physically cringe. My body actually thinks it's happening all over again right now. Yes. Your nervous system doesn't always know the difference between a vividly imagined memory and a current physical reality. To your heart rate, to your sweat glands, to the muscles in your shoulders, the memory is the reality for that split second. You are, in a very real sense, time-traveling biochemically.
That is actually kind of terrifying. But it's also really validating. It means I'm not just being overly dramatic or too sensitive. My biology is having a genuine reaction.
You are absolutely not being dramatic. You're experiencing a biological echo. The sound was made years ago, but the vibration is still shaking your bones today.
Okay, so we've established that this is normal. We've established it's a safety mechanism, a really aggressive, outdated one. We've established it's sticky like Velcro and heavy like a stone. The million-dollar question is, what do we do about it?
Right. How do we live with this very loud, very annoying smoke detector?
My first instinct is to ask, how do I delete the files? Where is the trash can in my brain? I want to drag and drop these memories into the bin and hit empty trash forever.
And that is the most natural, most human instinct in the world. We are wired to move away from pain. We want to eliminate it. But here is the hard and maybe frustrating truth. You can't delete them.
Oh, don't tell me that. Lie to me if you have to.
I can't. Because, in fact, trying to delete them often makes them stronger. Think about it. There's that famous psychological experiment about the white bear. If I tell you right now, for the next 30 seconds, whatever you do not think of a white bear. What's the first thing that pops into your head?
A giant, fluffy white bear. Immediately, it's just right there.
Right. The very act of trying to suppress a thought actually highlights it. It gives it more energy. Your brain has to keep scanning for the white bear to make sure it's not thinking about it, which of course means you are constantly thinking about the white bear.
So every time I tell myself, don't think about that awkward wave, I'm basically screaming awkward wave into a megaphone inside my own head.
You got it. If you fight the shadow, you are focusing all your energy on the shadow. You're feeding it your attention. And attention is the fuel that memories run on.
So if I can't fight it, and I can't delete it, do I just surrender? Do I just have to let the shadows win and live in a constant state of cringe?
No, you don't surrender.
Yeah.
You accept. And there's a huge, huge difference between those two things.
Acceptance versus surrender. Okay, that feels like a nuance we really need to unpack.
Surrender means letting the shadow control you. It means believing the story the shadow tells you, that you are awkward, that you're a failure, that you are unlovable. Acceptance means acknowledging that the shadow exists, that the thought is there, but stripping it of its power. It means changing your relationship with the thought.
Okay, so how do we do that? What are the practical steps? Because acceptance sounds very nice and zen, but it's really hard to do when your whole body is clenching up.
It starts with reframing the echo. Remember we talked about the warning sign, the danger detector?
Smoke detector, yeah.
Right. So instead of viewing that memory as an enemy, as a bully that is actively trying to hurt you, you can try to view it as a very strict, very loud teacher. Or, analogy I find even more helpful, is to see it as an overprotective, not very bright guard dog.
A guard dog. Okay, I like dogs. I can work with this.
So imagine you have a guard dog in your house. It's a good dog. Its sole purpose is to protect you. It loves you, but it's a little jumpy. It barks ferociously at burglars, which is great. That's its job.
Yeah.
But it also barks ferociously at the mailman.
Yeah.
And at the wind. And at a squirrel it sees across the street.
And my brain is the dog barking its head off at a squirrel.
Exactly. The awkward you two to the waiter is a squirrel. It's harmless. But your drain, your guard dog, is barking like it's an intruder with a knife. Now, if you run up to the dog and scream at it, "What's up? You're so stupid. Stop barking."
Yeah.
What does the dog do?
Oh, it barks louder. It gets more agitated. It thinks I'm barking with it.
Precisely. It thinks, oh my God, the master's upset too. The danger must be really, really real. I need to bark even louder to save us.
So me yelling at myself in my head, "Stop thinking about that, you idiot," just makes the internal panic worse.
Yes. So instead, imagine what a good dog owner does. You walk up to the dog calmly, you put a gentle hand on its head,
Yeah.
and you say in a calm voice, "Hey, thank you, good boy. I see the squirrel. It's okay. We're safe now."
You acknowledge the warning. You validate the dog's effort.
You say to your brain, "Thank you for trying to protect me from social rejection. I appreciate you looking out for me. But we're safe. This is just a memory. It cannot hurt us now."
That feels surprisingly gentle, almost counterintuitive.
It has to be gentle. Aggression just feeds aggression.
Yeah.
Gentleness and compassion dissolve it. You have to learn to treat your own mind like a scared, well-intentioned animal, not like a broken machine that needs to be fixed.
Let's try this live.
Yeah.
Right now. I'm going to take one of my classic shadows, the time I tripped walking up the steps on stage at my high school graduation in front of everyone. It was horrible.
Okay. The memory pops up. The cringe starts. Your chest tightens. The guard dog is barking. What do you say to it?
Okay. I'd say, "Hey, brain." Okay, I see it. "Thanks for reminding me to pick up my feet when I walk. That's good advice. I know you don't want me to fall again." But that was over a decade ago. I'm just sitting in a chair right now. I'm safe. We can let this one go for now.
How does that feel, even just saying it?
It feels lighter. It really does. It feels like I'm talking to a scared child instead of fighting a monster. The tension in my shoulders just dropped a little bit.
That's it. That's the practice. You're learning to parent your own mind. You're taking that heavy stone out of your pocket, looking at it and saying, "This is just a stone. It's not a weapon. I don't need to carry it right now." And you gently place it down by the side of the road.
You don't try to smash the stone. You just put it down.
Exactly. It's still there. You might walk past it again tomorrow and see it, but you don't have to pick it up and put it back in your pocket.
There's another tool that we have too, right? It's something that we're doing right this second.
Storytelling.
Yes. The power of just putting it into words.
When a shadow stays in the dark, when it's just inside your head, it grows, it festers, it looks like a giant, terrifying monster, and it feels completely unique to you. You think, "I am the only person on Earth who has ever been this stupid."
Oh, totally. I feel like I'm the king of stupid mountain. Like, I personally invented social awkwardness.
But then, what happens when you drag that shadow out into the light? When you describe it to a trusted friend or to the listeners in the Curious Room?
It shrinks almost instantly. It often becomes funny. When I told the story about the phantom wave earlier, I wasn't cringing, I was laughing. And I would bet money that people listening were nodding along thinking, "Oh my God, I've done that."
Exactly. Sunlight is the best disinfectant for shame. When you share this story, you realize two profound things. One, you survived. The story has an ending, and you are still here telling it. And two, you are not alone. Everyone had shadows.
That connection is so incredibly powerful. To realize that the person you admire, the person who seems so cool and confident and has it all together, they have a you too moment with a waiter that haunts them. They have a Velcro memory of a mistake they made that makes them cringe in the shower.
It humanizes all of us. It connects us in our imperfections. The shadows are actually what we all have in common. We all share the same ancient biology. We all have the same overprotective, slightly neurotic guard dogs in our heads.
So talking about it, it takes the power away.
It transforms a scary warning sign into just a story you can tell at a dinner party, a story that might even make other people laugh and feel less alone. In a way, you transform the lead into gold. You transform the trauma into connection.
That's a beautiful way to think about it. We're not just haunted by our pasts, we're collecting material.
Precisely. If you're a writer or a comedian or just a good friend, your worst moments are often your best material.
You know, this whole conversation, it's making me look at my collection of bad memories a little differently. I always saw them as scars, as these ugly things I wanted to hide. But maybe they're more like, I don't know, trophies. Or at least receipts.
They are proof of life. They are absolutely receipts. Think about it. If you had no shadows, no cringe moments, no memories of failure, what would that actually mean?
It would mean I never took a risk. I never put myself out there.
It would mean you never left the house. You never tried to make a new friend.
Yes.
You never asked someone on a date. You never applied for a job that was a stretch. You never loved anyone, because love always comes with the profound risk of rejection and pain.
Right. The only way to have a perfectly clean slate of memories is to do nothing. Just be a statue.
Exactly. The shadows are the cost of admission for a life lived fully. They are the receipts that prove you are out there, in the arena, getting messy and trying things. You're interacting, you were risking, you were feeling.
So when I feel that cringe, I should almost try to wear it like a weird badge of honor. Like, yep, I tried that thing. It went badly, but I tried.
Yes. I was brave enough to be awkward. I was brave enough to risk making a mistake. That is profoundly healthier and more compassionate way to view your own history.
I was brave enough to be awkward. I think I need to put that on a sticky note on my bathroom mirror.
It's a good motto for a human being to have. It gives you permission to be imperfect.
We're coming through the end of our time in the Curious Room tonight, and honestly, I feel calmer. I feel less like my brain is a broken machine and more like it's just this ancient friend who's trying really, really hard to help, even if it gets it wrong sometimes. I hope you, listening, feel a little of that too.
I do. It's always good to shine a little bit of gentle light into those dusty corners. It makes the ghosts look a lot less scary.
Let's recap briefly. For the listener who is maybe just now nodding off or driving home, what are the big takeaways from all this?
First, and most important, you are not broken. The fact that you remember bad things more than good things is a feature, not a bug. It's that Velcro effect from our evolutionary past.
Second, your brain is a danger detector. It's trying to keep you safe from ancient threats like snakes and tigers, even if the modern snake is just a typo in an email.
Third, don't fight the shadow. Don't try to delete the file. It's like the white bear resisting it just makes it stronger and carves that groove in your mind even deeper.
And finally, practice kindness with yourself. Thank the guard dog for trying to protect you. Share the story to shrink the monster. And learn to gently put the stone down.
That's the toolkit. It doesn't mean the shadows will vanish forever. The echo will still come back from time to time. But it means they don't have to ruin your night. You can hear the echo, acknowledge it, and not let it deafen you to the present moment.
I love that. Before we go, do you have one final thought for us to mull over? Something to take with us into the quiet moments of the week ahead?
I do.
Yeah.
I want you to try this next time an old bad memory knocks on the door of your mind. Don't barricade the door. Don't pretend you're not home. Don't hide under the bed. Just gently open the door, nod at the memory, acknowledge that it's trying to help in its own clumsy, ancient way, and then let it pass through. Visualize it like a cloud passing through the open space of a room. It enters, it floats for a moment, and then it leaves through the other side. You are the room. You are the sky, the thought, the memory. It's just weather, and the sky always remains.
You are the sky. The cloud is just weather. That is beautiful.
Be the sky.
Thank you so much for exploring this with us tonight, and thank you, listening, for spending this time here in the Curious Room. We know your time is precious, and we're so honored you chose to spend it here with us.
Indeed, it's a privilege.
We wish you a peaceful week, a week filled with light, and if a shadow does pop up, just give it a little nod and let it float on by. Good night, everyone.